Boo 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 doo boo boo doo boo boo. Ba 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 ba. You're listening to the Idiocy in Mono podcast, broadcast live in front of a studio audience.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of Idiocy in Mono. We are your three least favourite people on the internet. My name is Fraser, and today with me is Joe.
Hello.
And Rob.
Hello.
We're going to open up talking about anything interesting that we've done with the week, and if there's nothing that is interesting, then we'll just jump into news about world affairs, I guess, and like games and anime.
Stupid world affairs.
Stupid world
Not
affairs.
Like relevant ones.
We're not going to be talking about like the president of the United States or like the.
You will not be named.
He could be anybody.
Lord Voldemort is our president.
Crump. Oh, sorry. I had to cough there.
You leave the teacher from Fairly Odd Parents out of this. So yeah, and then we'll close off. I think we'll put like links to our social handles in like whatever description there is for this thing.
Our social handles. Yeah.
Yeah, with our very, very active.
You're just using this to promote
media.
your artwork, aren't you? God, Fraser.
What are you talking about? That's crazy.
It's flop sweat.
So, Joe, I believe you have something that's very sexy for our first news topic. I'm going to assume that you don't have anything interesting to talk about.
Wow. It's harsh. Jesus.
I mean,
I was going to say I've done stuff this week, but I mean, if you want to just be like, Joe doesn't do anything.
Okay, let's hear it then. Let's hear it then, wise guy.
I went on holiday to Devon.
Yeah.
With my girlfriend's family.
That's wonderful.
As you guys know. However, whilst we were there, her mother said, I don't get sunburned on my legs. It never happens, that's what she said. So she didn't put suntan lotion on. And then she got burned so bad, she got horrible blisters and had to go to the doctors.
Oh shit, yeah, those were those green ones.
Yeah, they were gross. They were really, they were massive.
The elephantitis.
Yeah, it was. That was her foot afterwards. Yeah, so like her entire leg swelled. She had to. She was miserable. She was in horrible pain, and she's had the dressings changed today, and the doctor or the nurse or the technician, I don't know what they call, has ripped the skin off on the area that's supposed to be healing, which means it's very open to infection now.
Oh fuck, dude.
So honestly, the situation could be even worse. So that's good. You know, that's a. Just keeping you updated there. That's what happened with me. I mean, I'm fine. I got a little sunburn on my shoulder. It peeled. It was kind of gross, but it's gone now. So.
Like, I quite like your girlfriend's family, Joe.
Okay. But where's this going?
What sort of person thinks, my legs are that special part of me that'll never get sunburnt, so the best thing to do when I'm really in this really sunny place is to not put sun cream on them?
Look, I don't know. I put sun cream on my legs and stuff, but I mean I don't know what's going through her head, honestly. But I think she's honestly planning never to actually feel the light of the sun again, and just become some kind of vampiric, cave-dwelling creature.
The fun thing about sun cream is that I don't wear it, not because I feel as though I don't need it, but because I forget to wear it because I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, this goes without saying, yeah.
So, like, before, like, normally I just kind of go a bit red and then I tan, and that's, like, the extent of it. But before now I have burns, and I've been like, why does this happen? This doesn't happen to me.
It's really not difficult to put on. You got to slip, slap, slop.
I mean, I just never carry it around with me, you know? And it's never, like, a conscious thing on my mind because it's never sunny and I never leave the house.
Well, the thing is, though, on the very rare occasions where it is sunny, you put it on. You don't need to carry it around with you, honestly.
Crazy,
Just
I know.
put it on before you leave.
Have you guys seen the Auntie Donna video about the sun cream?
Yeah.
I haven't.
If not, you should watch it. It's great.
A great video. It's like, haven't you done well 7?
One of the many haven't you done well.
All of the haven't you done wells are fantastic.
The last one I watched was the one with the bevies with the boys in the backyard.
Yeah. Auntie Donna are an Australian comedy trio.
Those of you who haven't checked it out and like sketch comedy should almost certainly do it, just because...
I'm sure there'll be a link on the screen now. That's just more work for me, honestly. But I'll figure it out. I won't figure it out.
Here you were originally just planning on releasing this on iTunes and calling it a day. Now you're just making more work for yourself, buddy.
Yeah, the thing is, we can monetize it eventually. I'm not
Oh
sure
my
how
God.
monetizing on iTunes works. I don't think you can. Like, unless you're a big name, you know what I mean? I doubt they'll pay people like us.
What are you talking about? We're
Whoa,
all
what
big
do you mean,
names.
people like
Everybody
us?
hates us, apparently.
Okay, so Rob, has anything happened interesting in your week at all?
In all honesty, no. I've just been really
That doesn't
tired.
shock me.
You know, I'm like, well, you guys know this, and now everyone else does. I'm probably the least interesting person you'll ever talk to, because I do pretty much nothing with my time.
That's a selling point on eHarmony, if ever I've heard one.
Well, it is because
Even my friends will say, I'm the least interesting person you'll ever meet.
there's no way that like I could go out. No way.
Wait.
Rob, we're not having an intervention right now. Like,
No,
Yeah,
guys.
cool your
I'm
jet.
just saying. I'm in the market, people.
I'm just like, so Rob, has anything happened this week? And you're like, oh God,
I'm so alone.
every moment is pain.
I'm so lonely.
Oh man, it's just depressing. I was gonna open the show on the high, but then really you just sort of dragged it down again. Fraser,
Well, it can only go up from here.
get us back into the positives.
Alright, so I had a fun time this weekend over at a friend's house. It was pretty damn cool.
It wasn't one of our houses.
I mean, if we were
Snort, sniff, harumph.
if it were at your house, it would still be a wonderful time. The only difference was that
Damn right it would.
the only difference is that weird bamboo pillow that I normally sleep on at your house
That
wasn't
bamboo pillow costs like 25 quid. You better enjoy it.
there. It's not too pleasant to sleep on, mate. I'm pretty sure it compacted back into wood, but
It's actually still growing bamboo. I don't know if you noticed.
oh wow.
Yeah, it will grow through your brain whilst you sleep.
That's crazy. So anyways, I played the new Crash Bandicoot trilogy. Not all the way through, just the first couple of levels of each game.
More like Crash Bandicoot.
He isn't that cute unless you you look at his version in
I'll cut
Japan.
I'll cut that. It's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Cut it
Never
out.
mind. I'll just cut it all out. You guys don't laugh anyway. Actually, no. I'll cut in some laughing, like a laugh track.
Studio
just
laugh
some my
track.
jokes. Yeah. I'll add it like a hotkey for the button.
Oh, that's wonderful. And it's kind of hard for me to tell you what I thought of them, just because I've never played the originals, because my childhood, in terms of video games playing, was sad and deprived.
Nintendo Corner.
No, I didn't even have that until I was like 11. So, like the
Nintendo now is still sad and deprived.
wow,
Depraved is a better word. I
we're
think.
gonna have the Nintendo
Oh, yeah.
fan base just knocking down your front door. First
They
Markiplier
might
now
be able
this.
to get to me through all the Mario games.
Fraser, you can't make references to the 0th episode. It might not get released.
I mean, this much is true. However, I want the world to know Rob's stance on Markiplier.
No, we're not.
We
bringing
hate
this
him.
back.
We hate his guts.
So yeah, but the ones which I did play, they were very consistent, and the only issues that I had were the jumps. I like some of the depth perception was a little
That's
bit
like the whole game.
yeah, I know.
The only issue I had
Which-
was the jumping part of this platformer. Other than that, it was really good.
Because the thing is with a lot of them, you have to look at where your shadow is, and sometimes you just kind of like forget that that's an aspect of the whole platforming thing. So you just kind of like run, you think you can make it, whereas actually you just kind of like slightly off the edge and you fall to your death. The other one is I kept mistiming my spins, so like the monkeys in the first game and the first couple of levels kept killing me over and over again. And this was right after the point where I said, wow, maybe I'm just good at this game, and then I just lost like 8 lives in a row. and I was like, come on, man, don't do this to me.
That game is old school. It's pretty harsh.
It is pretty harsh, but at the same time, it's been like redone. So you think like, I don't know, maybe they made it a bit more milk toast.
Nah, that's the problem with games nowadays.
Yeah, back in my
Actually,
day.
no. It seems to have done a weird turnaround where games back in the day used to be really hard, but I think that was a lot of that was to do with how they were designed. They weren't designed to be hard; they were just designed really badly, so they were difficult to navigate.
I disagree.
And then they got easier, and now suddenly with the whole like the popularity of Dark Souls and those type of games, where you're sort of punished all the time.
Bro, there's like
your
there's
mainstream...
like 4 Dark Souls type games, and then like 3 imitation games, and that's it.
Yeah, but
every
it's on
other
the
game
rise.
still has an easy setting that you can play on. I think that's the difference. There didn't used to be difficulty options. It was one difficulty.
Because here's the deal, right? Back in the early days of video gaming, not only was video gaming niche, but the games were really expensive to produce. So what they do in order to make sure there was replay value and make sure that you didn't just like go down to your nearest arcade machine, is that they just kind of made the games difficult so that there'd be replay value because, you know, it was fun to play, but it was challenging to get through. Whereas when gaming media hit the mainstream in like the late 90s and early 2000s, because everything got a lot more cinematic, they were forced to kind of like tone it down and make it so that it could appeal to a wider audience, which is why you've got like tutorial levels now, you've got a much easier way of doing things, and there's nothing wrong with that on the face of it. It allows scrubs like me to get through a game. However, people get nostalgic for like the old types of games, which is why people get a rush from Dark Souls, because it's one of the few games where the default setting is like you'll get there eventually, just keep going at it type of gameplay.
Yeah, it's
sorry, Fraser. I'm going to have to ask you to wrap that up, because my hard drive is saying it can only record for another 72 hours, and I'm not sure we'll get through that discussion fast enough. I can hear the salt. I can just hear it trickling down the microphone. No, he's sulking now.
I forgot what I was going to say now.
I mean, there's nothing really to say after that. What am I going to do? I'm going to respond and get shitty, or I'm going to say nothing and be a sulker, so...
Yeah, get shitty, come on.
Oh boy.
Let's keep this going.
Here come the salty shits. It's like I drank from the Dead Sea.
I didn't mean to interrupt your response to Fraser there.
No, I feel like yours was... summed it up pretty well.
So I'm not allowed to be eloquent, is that what you're saying? I'm just meant to be there like...
No,
come on.
Sorry, I just noticed it and wanted to comment on the fact that it's telling me I only have 72 hours of recording time left. It's like, I'm sure that'll do.
What I was going to say is that a lot of modern games like you say, have their own difficulty levels. So if you find a game hard, you can just make it easier. Whereas, you know, with games like Dark Souls or older games, you have to learn to deal with the difficultness. So you actually have to learn how to get good at the game instead of making the game easier. I feel like such a hipster and
Yeah, by the way,
I mean, this sounds like a good time to actually just go straight into the gaming section.
Before you do that, can I just say like how I almost physically cringed when you said like that's why Dark Souls has made games difficult again, because you sound like every mainstream gaming outlet. Like, this is the
Rob
Dark
gets
Souls.
all of his opinions from like the mainstream media.
Yeah,
he actually doesn't have a personality.
He doesn't have a personality. He's just fed off the comment section of IGN.
He's the only person commenting on IGN, honestly. Yeah. What game did you want to talk about, Rob? Did you have anything lined up for that?
I don't think so. Have any of you guys seen about the Surge?
For God's sake, you mean the Dark Souls clone?
Yeah, the Dark Souls themed
Can
game
we
in
get
space.
away from Dark Souls? Oh my God.
No,
Can I just say Surge just kind of sounds like a 90s supervillain from like the era where everybody was
probably is
hyper violent.
What about the Surge, Rob?
I just think it looks like an original concept.
An original concept, yeah. It's got unique gameplay, I think, is what's good about it.
Yeah. It's one of those games where I don't think I've seen it done before, where you can't really make it easy for yourself. You have to get better at the game, and the only way you do that is by playing it.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think that can be said about any other game, honestly.
Nah, especially not modern day games. Are just
I don't think games at all, other than the Surge, you can actually improve by playing. I think that the second you start the game, if you're not good at it, you should just quit and just throw your hard drive out the window, because it's not worth it.
Oh yeah, that's why there's. Have you not seen about the decrease in gamers?
Yeah. It's a dying art, honestly. The Surge might be the thing to turn this all around.
Us true gamers, we stick at it.
Nothing says original concept like Souls-like, honestly.
It's basically a Dark Souls game, but like in the future, and you kill robots. I think is the basic summary of it. And you look kind of like a 40k Space Marine with a chainsword, which was the only reason that I was even slightly interested in the game.
What? No, you're crazy.
I'm crazy. Okay, Nintendo Corner over here. What have you got lined up?
I've got nothing to do with Nintendo lined up, you squib.
I can see a thing in your section that says SNES Mini. What does the N in SNES stand for?
Nuts.
These nuts.
Super Nut Entertainment System.
Isn't that just your reaction to it?
I'm not super crazy about the concept. In fact, I'm not even.
Don't even lie. Don't lie to me right now.
What? No, if I was super crazy about the concept, I'd have already.
I'm not crazy about Nintendo. Don't be insane. I mean, I don't even mention Nintendo that often.
Bitch.
Bitch.
But yeah, the reason I wanted to talk about that was just because mainly of all of the shit that went down with the NES Mini. Because for the uninitiated here,
is that me, Ed and Joe?
Yeah. Basically, what happened was the NES Mini was released and announced, and the first thing that happened was like all of the pre-orders went out, and then there was a shortage of stock in the US. So the first thing that happened was everybody who got like all of their bazillion pre-ordered things went to eBay and started selling them for like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And same happened over in the UK, just because like they weren't even in that short demand. They were just kind of like a hot item for Christmas. So they got released, and then eBay scalpers were like, "Hey, do you want to pay a lot of money for these things?" And everyone was like, "No, get fucked." But then they got discontinued. So I'm just wondering, right, and I want to hear your input. Do you reckon a similar thing will happen with the SNES Mini, or do you think, you know, people have learned their lesson, or that eBay will get wise to it and like put in precautions?
I heard. I follow this guy on Twitter called like Nintendo Deals or something, just because it was like enter to win a Switch at one point, and I was like, oh, a free console. I saw some article about the NES Mini, I think, at the time, and it was like they've put restrictions on it so you can only buy one per person at some American store. So I think maybe after seeing what happened to the last one, they'll do a similar thing, like, you know, you can only buy. But then again, people can just make like 1 million Gmail accounts and just, you know, just buy it. Because I saw pictures on the internet about, like, you know, of people with just piles of NES Minis like up to the ceiling, like exactly what you're saying, so they could sell them off for a lot more money, like making an artificial scarcity. It's really scummy, but it's people, so it'll probably happen again.
But is the limitation of the amount of products you can buy, isn't that some kind of like breach of freedom?
Oh my god.
Not to get all up on my high horse about it.
Yeah, you're right. It's like 1984, honestly.
It is.
Big Brother is watching us and trying to take our Nintendos away, and we won't stand for it, quite frankly. I'm going to rise up and kill George Orwell. That's the plot of that book, right?
I'm pretty sure he's already dead.
Yes, absolutely. It's the same way how Clockwork Oranges is about
Oh, what a fucking idiot! I didn't even say Clockwork Orange properly.
Can you just stop?
I was making fun of the fact that you seem to think it was important to correct yourself.
Well, I know there's...
We got it, dude.
I know there's gotta be, like, some fucking nerd out there who's like, oh, you couldn't even
Well,
get
you
the
assume
title
that people will listen to this. I mean, that has to happen first before people can rip into you.
I mean,
Fraser,
it's...
do you assume the nerd because you usually are the nerd?
Yeah. It's Sod's law. Like, if I make one mistake and think, nah, no one will pick up on that, there'll be like 19 people, at the very least, of our 20 people that are listening to this, who will be like,
that's ambitious.
he clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. He just kind of, makes it up as he goes along. But anyway, I'm looking at
I
the...
bet you haven't even read Animal Farm, have you?
No, not
Oh
really.
man, what a
Um,
scumbag that hasn't read Animal Farm.
I'm just having a look at the list of games that are on this SNES Mini, and it's a good selection of games, a good selection of RPGs and shooters and platformers and all that type of stuff. So it's like Castlevania 4, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Mario Kart. So it's like lots of shit which people are going to be nostalgic for, which is going to definitely bump up the price.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What is it they're releasing on the Snut? Is it original games or is it old
No.
ones?
How could it be original games?
Oh yeah, it's Nintendo. Sorry.
Well, no. I mean, it's a re-release of an old system. They're not gonna make whole new games
Why
for
are
a
they
system nobody owns.
re-releasing it? Is that really their idea?
Yeah. So basically, it's a small piece of hardware with like HDMI output, which has a shitload of ROMs of classic SNES games from the early 90s that are packed into like this little thing shaped like the original console. And the general draw to it is it's like a list of games that if you bought them individually, they cost a lot more than the actual price of the console itself.
Think of it this way, Rob, like, well, I don't know about you, but if they released a PlayStation 2 Mini that had like 50 of the best PlayStation 2 games ever installed on it,
Mhm.
I would buy that. That'd be great, because it'd probably be sold for like, 60 quid. I mean, I'd say that's worth it for like hours and hours of gameplay.
But with those old games, you don't need like a little HDMI box thing. You can just I forgot the word now. You can just ROM them. Like
Emulate them illegally.
there's a lot
Just
of
ROM
emulators. Shut up. You can just emulate them
Like the old
on the internet.
one of the
I mean, that's illegal.
Yeah,
for one.
it
Rob.
is.
Just as a
Not
quick.
that I do.
We don't condone that here at Idiocy and Mono HQ.
the only real draw to this SNES lineup is Star Fox 2, and that's just because that never came out. So like
What?
Star,
What do you mean never came out?
it got cancelled. So they must have just finished the ROM and put it in as kind of like
But
a.
Did they make a Star Fox 3?
They made Star Fox. They cancelled Star Fox 2, and then they made Star Fox 64, which was a remake of the first one. Then they made like a buttload of other games which aren't anywhere near as popular, just because it's like not quite as fun. Then they remade the first one again. Then they remade the first one again. So
Wow. So this popular old franchise actually consists of like a game.
a game and then like a load of side games, which like
Hang on, you could say that about
20%.
Mario.
Why?
Way, edgy.
So yeah.
Just the silent. Is that all you wanted to mention?
Yeah, that's all I wanted to mention about this topic. The other one, if you want to talk about it, was obviously this is old news, but like, so Doomfist got dropped in Overwatch, and I'm not sure if he's, because I don't actually play the game. I just watch
I do.
I watch the cinematic things that get released out, because everyone knows that the story of Overwatch and the gameplay of Overwatch have nothing in common. So
Pretty much.
So like they released what's essentially like a 2-minute long anime sequence for Doomfist, and it's pretty fucking cool. However,
It was weird, wasn't it? It was like, I don't know why it was anime, because all of the previous things have been like the in-game style, but this one was like anime, cartoony.
yeah, but I greatly enjoyed it just because it reminded me of Young
Because
Justice.
he's a weeb.
No, not because
That's
of that.
me whispering to the audience. You can't hear me when I do that.
Oh yeah, you're gonna completely
Hey
ignore
guys, this is Joe's secret chat. How you all doing? It's like Even Stevens or something, or like Malcolm in the Middle. I can just like
you're gonna
pause
freeze the
time
screen.
and
Yeah.
like, talk to the camera for a bit, and then like we go back in.
I thought you were just doing Edward. That's
Do the Butters voice.
Hey guys, it's me. I'm doing the secret voice. No one can hear me. But yeah, you're gonna say that as though it's like we don't have an anime section on our program list.
Weeb. Stop reacting. You can't hear it. You can't hear that when I do that.
So anyway, Doomfist got put out there, and so did.
He's not actually in the game yet, by the way.
I know he's not actually in the game, but they put him out to some reviewers so that they could be like, oh, he's a decent character, and they gave him some costumes, some of which have given him a mohawk. And hold on, I'll do the professional thing and link you the article.
It's the Express. Oh, that was my news source last week.
Nice.
I think. I say last week. Yes, it was a week ago that we recorded the previous
Definitely.
podcast. Definitely hasn't been like 3 months.
They're also going to be weekly, these guys. So
Yeah,
look forward to
weekly.
that. Yep.
That's how quick I can edit this.
It's not going to be weekly. This is Rob's secret chat.
Okay, so Fraser, Doomfist appears to be Colossus here from like X-Men, but with a mohawk.
Yes, but if you scroll down to the Twitter screenshot from the Tekken 7 Twitter,
Why is there a Tekken
you can
7
see that they
Twitter?
are.
It's a very specific Twitter to have.
I mean, it's just
Well,
the Tekken
They
Twitter.
promoted the
but
game, didn't it?
number 7 was. Yeah. They'd just be like, get hype for Tekken 7. Heihachi kicks down a door
Everyone
at
was
the
ready
speed
for
of sound.
Tekken 7, weren't you guys?
I mean,
Honestly,
I enjoyed the cinematics. It's a fighting game. Like, I'm not very familiar with fighting games. If I'm going to play Tekken, I might as well play from, like, at least number 3, because
the
apparently
best
that's when
fighting
it
games
got
are Dead or
good.
Alive.
It's true. Beach volleyball
True.
is the most intense fighting game I've ever played.
Also, the guy on the left totally looks like one of the toy soldiers from... Is it Toy Soldiers?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Chip Hazard from
Yes.
Small Soldiers. I love it. Oh my god.
So yeah, one of his Omnic skins looks remarkably like a character from Tekken who's existed for about 3 or 4 games now.
when movies were hard, back when Small Soldiers came out.
Now everyone just copies Small Soldiers.
Every
Everybody
movie
just
can be
copies
tracked back to Small Soldiers, yeah.
Even
Avatar.
Citizen Kane.
It's got blue people in. That's sort of like a soldier that is small. I'm sure the Ungwi, what was they called in Avatar? We're
Ungwi.
The
part of the
Na'vi.
Gorgonauts. Is it the Gorgonauts?
The goal.
Gorgonites.
Gorgonauts? I don't remember. I haven't seen it in years.
You know, there's that much dilution with, like, you know, all of the other side products that have come off Toy Soldiers. It's hard to trace.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because
because
there's so much imitation of Small Soldiers, you know.
You know, Jason and the Gorgonauts.
Sick reference, bro. To like the 1980s movie or the 4,000-year-old.
No, I think it was
epic.
earlier than
Was
that.
it 5,000, something like that.
Jason and the Argonauts, wasn't that part of, like, the
I
Odyssey
don't know.
or something? Or, like, it was either the Odyssey or the Iliad, either one. Any buts. So yeah, that's just what I just thought it was funny, just because it was like they're like having playful banter with each other, but part of me is just kind of like, why did they do that like that? Why did they?
It's probably not based on him. It's probably just they did it to look cool.
Oh yeah, of course they did it to look cool.
And
Like,
as we
just
figured
go
out,
with
they were just copying Small Soldiers like everyone else. So
Yeah.
See, this is where you come for the hard-hitting journalism.
Yeah, we are journalists. That's I went to university for journalism. I dropped out of my first year of physics and completed a full degree in journalism whilst in between episodes, but also it's only been a week, as we said earlier. So
He's a machine. Dedicated to this, people.
He studied with all of the greats. So yeah, that's all I fucking wanted to talk about. What about you
I mean,
guys?
the only thing in my gaming section that I really wanted to mention was XCOM 2, mainly because I finished it earlier today. Man, what a game. That was a good game. Fraser, you were there for the final mission.
I was there. You kind of beat the last guy on random
Oh, yeah,
chance.
okay, so that's a good story. So, in XCOM 2, I don't know if you know, you can apply, like, upgrades to the weaponry. Like little attachment things that you might have in Call of Duty or something, but they instead give like little things. So like there's an extra clip that gives you a free reload or something because it's a strategy game. So reloads are sort of important because you've only got like 3 or 4 shots and then you have to reload and you've got to time that in between all of your other attacks and everything. So this one of my characters just happened to have a thing on a gun. It was I added it in like the second mission. It was really early on. That gave it like a +5 or a +2% chance or something to instantly kill any enemy at all in the game. And it had literally triggered, I think, once in the whole game. Like that's how small the chance was of it happening. So in the final mission, one of my favourite guys, I've got my full team there, all 6 of them ready to go. I've raised these people, I've watched them grow, I birthed them from my mind hole. And I've nurtured them, and then like in the final mission, one of my guys gets mind controlled and basically kills my healer, and I was like, oh god no, this could be it. I don't know if I'll be able to finish the mission now. So I managed to kill the final objective of the game is to kill 3 avatars, which are like super powerful enemies. I've managed to kill 2, but that one left was on full health, and like I'd already lost a guy who was my main healer now. Some of my guys are injured. It was not going well. I was utterly surrounded by enemies. It was probably not going to go well. So I just take a quick shot on the avatar, thinking, okay, I'll see what happens from this. I'll make a decision based on this, but I'm probably screwed. It triggered the instant death ability, and he just died, and I won the game. It was like so ridiculous. I couldn't even believe it for a second. I'm glad that people were here to witness me doing it, honestly, because I wouldn't believe it if someone had told me it happened.
I feel like in the real world, that's like seeing this massive monolith of a machine, and then someone firing and accidentally hitting the tiny, tiny button that makes it instantly explode.
Yeah. Autobots, disassemble.
If were the avatars anything like the one which your main character was possessing?
Yeah,
or some
they were
shit?
like that one. Only
Okay.
theirs were better because mine was like a newbie.
So like I get the impression that they just kind of like shoot, like they barely miss, but at the same time they kind of graze like a major artery, so they just kind of like spurt out and bleed on the floor.
It was so I'm glad that basically if that hadn't have if the mission had been like kill these 3 avatars and then eliminate the rest of the enemies, I would have lost. There's no way, because there were like 30 aliens in that one room, utterly surrounding me. Like another turn, I probably would have lost another 2 people. It was really bad, but just it was so ridiculous. And it's just moments like that that really make a game enjoyable. And it was a great game. Probably gonna play it again, honestly. And I am excited for any future ones. There's a new DLC coming out for it that looks pretty cool. Apparently it's big enough to like be sort of its own standalone thing.
That's where you fight the Kraken, right?
Yeah, that's what you do, yeah. It's actually a first-person shooter.
Right.
And you're on a little rowing boat and you have to go beat Cthulhu to death with an oar. It's quite a unique concept. I know, it's mainly copying off Small Soldiers. Yeah.
Like, how far can we take this?
I don't know, but I'm going to keep rolling with it.
Oh boy.
It's a podcast in joke. For all of the 10 people that listen, it's gone down. They've stopped listening now, the other 10.
And then 4 episodes from now, we can make a callback where we're like, oh, there's people that know about the toy soldiers, the real OGs.
get a siren noise and put it in, like around the sound clip where you say
Oh,
callback.
we need to get a soundboard.
We do need to get a soundboard.
Well, Rob, you were like the music audio guy. I feel like you need to get a soundboard, honestly.
I don't even know how a soundboard works.
You press a button and sound comes out.
Oh shit.
I mean, you're the one who asked. So yeah, I think that was all of the gaming discussions we really wanted to cover.
I think so.
Rob, is there anything you'd like to do for your news, maybe? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
My news
Yes.
was funny to me because the Reddit headline was "Florida man's house swallowed by Florida," which sounds funny, but it's actually quite bad because,
I mean-
according to the story, a sinkhole swallowed 2 houses and half of a third one.
Sinkholes are kind of scary anyway.
You've probably heard of it if you're on the internet, but Florida Man is like a thing where in Florida, because they publish all of like the arrest records or whatever, a lot of weird news stories come out. So you hear like Florida man leapt off roof, assaulted man, ran inside, stole his TV and then masturbated into his grandma's ashes or something. Like that's the kind of weird stories you hear from Florida man. And that was like a news craze a little while ago, but then it sort of devolved into like not funny ones, like Florida man kills his 2 children then himself, and it's like, oh, that's not funny at all. That's just a murder suicide. That's horrible.
Yeah. I also kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable about doing Florida Man stories on the grounds that I'm pretty sure Cox and Crendo already have it sorted.
Well, this is just Rob being unoriginal. You know the first Florida Man story. You know where that,
Oh god,
you know where
I
that's
already know where
It
this is
actually
going.
took place in Houston.
which isn't in Florida.
It isn't in Florida. However, you know what else happened involving Houston?
1984.
Perfect.
It's a callback.
We got
Callback. Callback. Callback.
Oh no, I can't be in charge of the soundboard because I know full well that I won't remember which sounds correspond to which button. So it'd probably get quite inappropriate.
What do you mean inappropriate?
Well, you know, be talking about like
Were you?
a sensitive issue,
You
and
think
I'd try to play the sad music button, but instead start playing like
It's-
fanfare.
It's
or
very
something.
simple, Rob. If we're talking about a sensitive subject, we don't use the soundboard.
But it
It's true.
adds to the ambience.
It's like when
So-
you said inappropriate. I'm imagining like you get the audio from like a 3-hour long porno, and then you just kind of like
3
What,
hours.
the full audio?
yeah
Who
you just tune it
commits
up
to
to
that?
one button, so you just kind of sat there awkwardly trying to wait for it to finish. Wait for him to finish.
You'd have to wait a long time. I mean, I know I have 71 hours and 57 minutes left in my recording, Fraser, but still, that's still a long
Can
time
you
to
last
wait.
that
There's
long?
only so much that we can take.
So, as a quick recap there, by the way, Rob's story, a sinkhole opened in America and killed 2 people. That's a great story.
No, nobody's dead.
Oh, right, yeah.
It just destroyed their
It destroyed the
livelihoods.
lives of 2 people. Okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
much better.
But
Yeah.
it was more just, it's kind of concerning because sinkholes are like, they can literally happen anywhere, and so,
Yeah, I watched a video of how
along
they
with
formed
the-
the other day.
along with all the other stuff in the world, like the many millions of things in the world that can kill you, the Earth could just eat you at any point.
Well, that's just because of global warming. We're killing this planet,
Yeah,
guys.
Yeah, it's killing us back. It's, Earth 2, the Revengeing. Planet Earth 2, it's got David Attenborough as the
And
narrator.
this time it's personal.
But he like kicks down the recording booth door and like gets a machete and like an AK-47 and starts shooting the floor. It's a great watch, honestly.
It's him sitting
It
there.
takes a lot of inspiration from Small Soldiers, but I really
Why is
think
David Attenborough trying to kill the Earth? I thought he was protecting it.
because he was like the narrator for Planet Earth, that like BBC documentary thing. So it's Planet Earth 2, and this time it's personal type thing.
So, like, he's hanging out the helicopter by the Galapagos and he's firing bullets into, like, the lava that's coming out.
Which
of, like...
part of the helicopter is the Galapagos?
Or what part of David Attenborough is the Galapagos?
Wait, what was it that I said?
You said he's hanging out of the helicopter by the Galapagos.
Shut up.
Um, yeah, that's a great story. It's really funny, very relatable. I love it. I don't love it. It was terrible. Anyway,
Okay.
my news story. I picked this one mainly because I literally just googled weird news, and this was one of the first results. That's the kind of high-level journalism integrity that we have here. But basically, so a brawl breaks out in Taiwanese parliament as lawmakers throw water balloons and chairs. And the main part of it that interested me was the fact that, yeah, okay, you're in parliament, right? You start having,
All of the time.
things get really heated. Things get really heated, and then, people start throwing punches. It turns into a full brawl. People are picking up chairs and hitting stuff. People are picking up office supplies, the kind of thing
Classic.
you'd have in a parliament room. And then there's just the sneaky little water balloons, who preemptively.
Someone came prepared to that
Yeah,
meeting.
there you go. I mean, there's probably not a tap in there, right? Like they either brought balloons with them, filled them up beforehand, and stashed them in like a bag or something, ready to unleash upon the world, or they happened to find a packet of balloons, snuck out after the brawl started, and then came back with the water balloons. Where did the water balloons come into this?
Perhaps.
There's a picture here of like a woman. It doesn't even look like they're fighting, honestly. It looks more like the sort of after-party type thing. Everyone's sort of worn out, there's a couple of bruises, and then there's a woman just throwing water out of a bottle over someone's head.
Maybe it's
for no reason.
Maybe it's a smear campaign. Like they just kind of preemptively were like, what will really ruin this guy's political career? What if while in the middle of making a speech, we just throw a water balloon in his face and make him look like a stupid guy?
The thing is, Fraser, that this isn't the first time this has happened.
What?
Oh.
This isn't the first time there's been a fight in Taiwan's parliament.
Oh, of course not.
It's not the second time either. Or the third. Or the fourth.
What?
So, in May 2007, they ended up lunging at each other, two rival representatives did. 2010, there was controversy over a trade deal with China, which started a massive fight, which made two lawyers go to hospital. In 2013, politicians physically attacked each other before voting on whether or not to authorize a national referendum. In December 2016, a parliament descended into chaos when an amendment was passed to remove 7 public holidays. Multiple people were injured. Honestly, though, I understand that one. They're trying to take our public holidays away. I'd fight too. It's just, again, just the water balloons, honestly. It's just like, who had the great presence of mind, honestly, to bring water balloons in preparation.
It was either water balloons or guns, and I get the feeling that they got the good end of the stick.
Well, no
I'm
one's
just
died. They
imagining-
just generally sort of throw paper and stuff at each other.
I'm just imagining some kind of John Wick-esque rampage, but with water balloons. Like some really unassuming old man in a suit just taking down about 50... What are they called again? Not parliamentaries. What are they called? Fucking hell.
Politicians, bro.
MPs.
Politicians.
Fuck's sake.
Jesus Christ.
Are they called politicians in Thailand?
Probably.
Well, no, they're called politicians, but in Taiwanese.
And what would that be?
Oh, jeez. I'll just look into my extensive knowledge of the
Yeah.
Taiwanese language.
I'll just check my shelf for the English to Taiwanese dictionary I always keep there. Jesus, man.
Can I read Thai?
No, it's not Thai
Thai-
anyway. That's different.
Thailand
Oh.
and Taiwan are different places, dude.
What? Oh, was this in Taiwan?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's Taiwanese. That's why I said Taiwanese like 10 times.
I may have spelled Thai. Oh god, I spelled Taiwanese horribly.
You know what? I think we should just abandon the search for the Taiwanese for politician because you probably won't be able to pronounce it anyway.
I've just found lots of Taiwanese politicians, is what I've done.
So, Fraser, is there anything you'd like to talk about in terms of movies or anything?
Movies and stuff. Yes, I would. We recently watched.
Sorry. What was that? Yes. Well, you see that. Well, we recently we watched. Yeah. It's just like,
Pretty much, yeah.
get some confidence, dude.
It's not confidence. I just wasn't paying any attention. You were just kind of there like Fraser, and I'm like, ah.
So, but what movies did you want to talk about, Fraser?
Well, I was gonna say Spider-Man, but you've got Spider-Man written down, so whatever.
Hell yeah, I did. I called that one.
Yeah,
I called that one early.
You called it good. The two things I have written down are Dark Tower and as a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. But I'll start with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, just because that's the abomination here.
Yeah.
So Sega have announced officially that a Sonic the Hedgehog live-action CGI cross movie will be produced by Sony Pictures and will be released in 2019. And you see, my response was pretty much that internally. I just like to ask the question, why? Sonic...
Is it going to be live action?
Yeah.
Wait, whoa.
Wait, let's back this up a bit.
What do you mean it's going to be live action?
Yeah, it's gonna be...
It's...
Like, you
Are
know...
they going to spray paint a hedgehog? Like, that sounds like animal cruelty.
You know, like, the Alvin and the Chipmunks movies.
Oh god.
Oh god! But every character in Sonic is not a human. Even Dr. Robotnik is like a weird sort of round bloke.
You
like,
see-
he's not
If I
human at all.
remember correctly, there was a Sonic game where there was people,
There are lots of games where there's people, Rob. That's...
and like Sonic dances with a princess or something.
There's,
What?
okay, so throughout... So, we have Sonic Adventure...
In Shadow the Hedgehog, he fights SWAT people with guns.
Yeah. So here's the...
What?
So here's the deal, Joe, since you're lost and confused about this. In the first 3D Sonic game, technically the first one, Sonic Adventure, the entire hub world is this metropolitan city filled with actual, honest-to-God, real-world people. And this continues all the way through till about... to Sonic Unleashed-ish, correct me if I'm wrong, Internet, where there's basically...
They will.
Yeah, so, like, there's this whole thing where it's like Sonic and all of his anthropomorphic friends also happen to coexist in a world filled with humans, to the point where in Sonic 06, a lot of the cutscenes look like they're taken from, like, a Final Fantasy game with, like, all of the anime people in it. And then Sonic the Hedgehog jumps in, and he's just there like, wow, it's so cool to be here! And then at one point, he gets brought back from the dead from the kiss from a princess. But the princess is like an
Baby!
actual
I
person.
can to the kiss from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Ooh.
See, I can't continue that because we will be copyright claimed because I was
Pitch
singing
perfect.
perfectly, note
It was
for
like
note.
Mr. Seal was in the room with us.
It was like there was a seal right here slapping away.
That slap boy. So, yeah, Sonic Unleashed did this thing with its human characters where it kind of tried to make a more DreamWorksy Pixar type of thing where they're all cartoony to try and blend it in a bit more. Kind of didn't work, but you know, the whole thing where it's like we're gonna make it live action and then Sonic the Hedgehog is ridiculous to me because you could just make it a movie filled with anthropomorphic animals. And no one would, like, bat an eye. No one would be like, oh, this is doing it in service to the Sonic the Hedgehog lore.
I mean, you gotta remember though, Fraser, they've made an emoji movie with Patrick Stewart in playing like a poo. I mean, anything can happen.
Nothing is sacred anymore.
Nothing is sacred.
Yeah.
Nothing is sacred. Not even the dulcet tones of Patrick Stewart. However, I would have thought after the absolute failure that was Smurfs 2 and Alvin and the Chipmunks 4, Chipwrecked.
Yeah, no, but that's Alvin and the
Sorry,
Chipmunks
sorry.
4. I'm
Sorry.
sure they made enough movie on the others.
Alvin and the Chipmunk 4, the Road Chip. My apologies. So
Jesus Christ.
I don't think it was that they flunked the films. I think it was they ran out of chip-related puns.
no,
in
they
order to
released the
call
movie
movies.
and it did fucking terribly. So they were like, "Well, that's it for that franchise." But I guess their grubby little sticky mitts can't leave things well enough alone.
You're so passionate about this. Do you even like Sonic?
I like the 2D Sonic games a little bit, but what I'm more annoyed by is the fact, like, if they'd just done like an average movie, like say the Angry Birds movie, which was apparently like not great, but at the same time not offensive, then I'd be fine with it. If it was just kind of like, here's a Sonic the Hedgehog
Not
movie.
offensive? What do you mean? Who is there to offend those die-hard Angry Birds fans? I mean, come on.
No. I mean, like it isn't like the Minions where it's just insulting to your intelligence the whole way through.
Yeah, I suppose.
It was like, it had a plot for what it was worth, apparently. But with this, it's just kind of like Sonic shows up in the real world, and it's just kind of like some kids, and he's like, my life sucks, and I get bullied a lot. And then like an interdimensional portal opens up, and he's just there like, whoa, chili dogs, and then like
Chili dogs. Yeah.
that's the movie.
Oh yeah, I remember the Black
The first
Knight
bit of excitement from Rob
Oh,
all
fuck.
podcast. Let's see what it's for.
in the Black Light, in the Black
In
Knight
the black
cutscene.
light.
In the Black Knight cutscene when he first appears, and then
Oh,
he does
yeah.
he does all this stuff, and then he spins around, and the hot dog falls into his hand.
Yeah. He appears. It's like this King Arthur-esque lore, and then like the daughter of Merlina, opens up like a fucking portal in the sky, and then Sonic the Hedgehog falls out with 2 chili dogs, and he's just kind of there like, whoa! And then like he hits the ground, and then he manages to zip around and save both of them.
Fraser, you didn't tell me you were hired to voice Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's no good. I'm almost out of drink.
Will the live action have the crazy face animations that Sonic's always had?
You mean the crazy animations from like Sonic Adventure, where it was synced up with Japanese, and then they recorded English lines, but didn't like actually change anything. So he's just kind of there like.
Yeah. He turned into Bill Cosby, apparently.
Fraser, please, you're gonna run out of liquid, and your throat will instantly dry up, and you'll die.
That's just how it works, dude. Yeah. That's basically the gist of what I wanted to talk about, this abomination. It might turn out to be, good. I highly doubt it. The closest thing that Sonic's ever had to a good movie was like his cameo in Wreck-It Ralph, and even then he was a billboard. So, the other thing which I wanted to talk about was I saw the trailer for Dark Tower the other week when watching Spider-Man. And I want to talk about how that could either potentially be a very good movie or like a pretty fucking bad one.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this to you yesterday, Fraser, but like, I got a very Golden Compassy vibe from it, where it's like coming from a decent book series that that has a lot of fans, but ultimately it's gonna like flop, and then leave like loads of just plot lines just unanswered, and have an ending that's very much like, we will see you in the sequel that we're definitely gonna get, and then like they never get one.
I'm not sure if the Dark Tower books are like the Terry Pratchett Discworld books, and like they're just kind of like standalone things set in a world. They could be like a continuing story, but I don't know, because they make a point not to go out of my way to read Stephen King, given that he also like got high on coke in the 80s and made some terrible movies.
Oh, is the Dark Tower the one with Idris Elba?
Yeah, the one with
Idris Elba, yeah.
the one with the
I want to watch it solely just for all the cool stuff. He seems to be able to go.
all of the gunplay. I watched it in the trailer, and I like instantly the side of me which is easily won over by Revolver Ocelot-esque shenanigans.
I was about to say, I kind of want like a portion of the film where it's just that 5-minute long sequence of Ocelot just spinning the guns around.
Got the one from Metal Gear Solid 3 where he's like, I've got 12 shots, and he's like, chili dogs. There's like, what was it that you said to me in the cinema, Rob? It's like, where Idris Elba's like, I don't kill people with my eyes, I kill them with my heart, and he like and he shoots someone like over a great distance without even looking at them, and you turn around and said to me like, guns don't kill people, I do.
It just reminded me of that whole thing. It was really funny.
So, like, because thing is, like, I haven't watched many or read many of Stephen King's things, as previously established. Like, one of the consistent things which I've heard is, like, that The Shining is really good, but I haven't watched The Shining because my parents rented it once, and then the build-up was so slow that they didn't even fucking finish the movie because they were that bored, but I've heard it's, like, one of the greatest horror movies of all time, so I'm just kind of, like, conflicted on that front. So when I see, like, one of his old books getting converted into, like, a film and getting the Hollywood treatment, part of me is just kind of like, will they lose whatever's good about the film? Sorry, what's good about the story when they transfer it onto the film? Is it just not that great and people are just kind of like nostalgic for it? Like, I as much as I want to see Idris Elba be a fucking badass with a gun and a trench coat, there's certain limitations to like how excited I can be for this.
But at the same time, I don't know much about Stephen King. I only know like
Stephen King
popular stuff.
Is a good guy. He writes a lot. That's all you need to know.
But I think through doing stuff like this with the Dark Tower, it sort of brings old stuff that maybe people haven't known about, or read about, or don't want to read about. They can now watch the film, and it still keeps that sort of essence of the story whilst making it more accessible for people.
Are you trying to say that this new film, the Dark Tower film, will give Stephen King, one of the most popular writers in the world, exposure? Is that what you're trying to sell it as to me?
Yes.
I was gonna make.
I'm pretty sure he's got the fans he needs, buddy.
The point which I was going to take from that is the fact that like Hollywood's been doing that a lot recently. Given that they've been taking old stories that are like very sci-fi based, and now that CGI technology's caught up to the point where you can't even tell that like they're using it anymore. Like a lot of the time, like if it's on like an organic thing where it's like meant to be.
I always watch all of my movies on the chest of a Teletubby. It gives the best picture quality.
That isn't what I mean.
You get that curved screen.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's like the opposite of those Samsung screens that curve like sort of around you because it curves away from you.
Yeah,
because it's a stomach.
It gives depth perception. You really know what's further away and what's.
It's hard. It's hard to like get them to stand still for long enough. You kind of have to like bait them with something, dangle Tubby Tustard from the ceiling or something.
Oh dear. But like things like they're going to be making Dune into a film, and that's.
Didn't they already do that?
No, I don't think so.
Are you
Doom
sure?
into a film? Yeah, they did. It's got what's his face in The Rock.
No, that's Doom.
No, they did make a Dune film, 1984.
What? All right.
What are you talking about?
Dune.
No,
Wait,
I think he was on about 1984 as in the book that we keep referencing.
Okay.
No, I'm on about Doom did not come out in June.
Shut up, Rob. Yeah, they made a Dune movie, Fraser, in 1984.
Oh, I
it was
see.
directed
Yeah,
by
it's got The Rock
David
in it.
Lynch.
Oh,
So it was probably terrible.
right. So,
1984.
so
I'm gonna fight you in real life.
and then coming out in the next couple of months is also going to be Valerian. What? Valerian and like the city, the 1,000 planet city dome or whatever the fuck. And
yeah, Lauren pointed out to me that like it's called like Valerian, the city of 1,000 planets, and then the two main characters are both white, traditionally attractive, like a male and female.
yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that just because I'm not going to open up that fucking can of worms. However, what I will say is that the original French graphic novel, which that is based off, is like the precursor to like a lot of the space opera shit that we saw in the 80s. So it's like if you look at certain panels from the book, you can see like, oh, this happened 10 years before Star Wars, and this is where George Lucas got the idea for Slave Leia in a bikini, or like this is where Jabba the Hutt came from, or that type of shit.
I've heard a lot of, I've seen a lot of articles recently that have been saying lots of stuff about how the guy that's directing it or whatever, like Luke or
Yeah.
something, apparently he literally, there's like the way he's done it is like it's a really cheap movie and stuff. So like, I think in pre-sales or whatever alone, he's like made back the money for the movie type thing. So it's already a success. Something like that. There's like some way that the movie physically can't fail somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how or why, but like, so that he's already started writing the next two or something.
Because the one thing which I've heard about this film, like regardless of whether or not it's successful, is that in order to make it so that Thousand Planet thing was completely and utterly understood, and that you had like a wide variety of aliens, he kind of like contacted concept artists from all around the world in isolation, and then like was like, yo, here's a picture of a seashell, make me an alien creature based around this picture of a seashell. And so like based on that, he got like all of the different aliens that you'll see in the backdrop of the film will be completely different to each other, just because like there was like no collaboration between like consistent art styles and shit when they were putting them into the movie.
That does sound pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not denying the fact that even in the trailer it does look like a very visually impressive movie, but at the same time I was just a bit like, eh.
I mean, I'm just gonna watch it just for the sake of it, because from what I understand, the main character Valerian is kind of like he's kind of a fuckboy. He's just kind of there like, hey, other human girl, want a bone? And she's just kind of like, I hate you.
That sounds like the kind of character we want. It's very original. You know, it's never been done before, really. The idea of a white fuckboy main character. Yeah, it's definitely a new concept.
As a white fuckboy myself, I feel
Yep.
like I need more representation in the media.
I mean, at least they're being very upfront about this. It isn't like in Passenger where it's like, the next sci-fi adventure, and then it turns out that the entire movie is like Chris Pratt, like, creepily watching, like, Jennifer Lawrence.
Apparently it was really, really weird, like the actual film was. It was like he woke her up just to bone her.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then,
like he
lied to
basically
her and stuff.
he like read all about her and stalked her and stuff for years and like imagined this whole relationship with her in his head, and then he deliberately woke her up so that means they'll both die before like anyone else even wakes up, in an attempt to basically force her to sleep with him.
So, moving on from that train wreck.
Yeah, let's quickly cover Spider-Man: Homecoming, and then we'll see about wrapping this up.
Okay, cool.
So Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
We all saw it.
Yeah.
Not together though, because we hate each other.
Yes.
Or I hate the other two, honestly.
Uh-huh.
Because I saw it on my own with a whole other group of people.
Because Joe has other friends.
Yeah, I've got other friends, but they're a lot more interesting than you guys. Honestly, I should probably start a podcast for them.
Yeah.
Like a rival podcast
You-
that gets infinitely more popular.
You could probably...
Are the three most interesting people on the internet.
Yeah, that's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
We'll call it like supremacy in mono. Oh no, that might actually sound quite bad.
Whoa, yeah, you might attract a lot of crowd though.
We'll call it
you know.
white supremacy. Your most favourite race on the internet.
Bloody. Okay, cut this. This is,
Yeah,
this is going in.
cut it.
Cut the hard line.
No, so we all saw Spider-Man. I really liked it. It was very well written film. You know, all of the joke. Well, there was like one or two that didn't, but most of the jokes landed. You know, I think this and Guardians 2 have been like pretty high points, honestly, for like the Marvel movies, because I was kind of sort of getting bored of them a little bit before this. You know, they felt a bit, oh, let's get as many characters in there as possible, which I get as part of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's pretty much how
thing.
the comic books function. Just because if there's one character who has no appeal, they'll just put a popular guy in there, and the sales numbers will go up.
But at the same time, it was nice to see in sort of, well, not new characters, but characters because the Guardians aren't in the main thing yet, are they? They're still off in space somewhere.
Yeah.
And like Spider-Man was only sort of a quick cameo thing in Civil War. And yeah, it was a really funny film. Michael Keaton was like amazing as the
definitely.
Vulture.
Yeah.
There's a great scene I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. There's a great scene where they're like sitting at a traffic light, and their faces light up in their respective colours, and it's really
honestly as well. I don't know if it was for you guys, but the twist in the film,
good. Oh yeah.
I really wasn't. I actually wasn't expecting that. I know
see,
like a lot of them come.
I've seen a lot of people say that, and honestly, I was fully expecting it for the whole film.
You see,
Yeah.
the thing with it is, I've heard that loads of people have seen it in like rom-coms and stuff, where it's like two characters
Fraser,
with
you're
seemingly no
spoiling it.
relation, or like actually like family members or whatever.
You just gave
but,
it
like,
away.
What are you talking about, dude? Here's
You just gave away.
here's the spoiler, guys.
I've got
Adrian
this,
Toombs
I've got
is
this.
actually Uncle
I'm sorry.
Ben.
I'm sorry,
So,
everyone, you had to hear that. Tom Holland is a personal friend of mine, so he tells us all of the gossip. That's who I went to see Spider-Man with. Actually, I was at the premiere with Tom Holland.
He high-fived Zendaya on the red carpet. It was a pretty magical moment.
No, she won't let me touch her. Because I have a podcast called White Supremacy.
We gotta keep it in now.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, just a quick thing. Basically, go see it. It was really good. If you're kind of bored of the whole Captain America's great, Iron Man's great, the Hulk's great, then go see this one because he's not been in it yet, so you aren't sick to death of him.
It was a good twist on the whole thing as well. Like a lot of people complaining that he was a lot younger, but I think it worked out a lot well. And they haven't put in the Uncle Ben storyline.
Yeah, the Uncle Ben storyline is overdone. The only issue I had, I was like, oh yeah, Tom Holland, he looks young enough. He could definitely play the sort of role that Tobey Maguire played. You know, the sort of like university, college level. Spider-Man. I was like, oh yeah, he could definitely play that. Then he says at one point in the film, "I'm 15," and I was like, yeah, he's not 15.
It's
I was with
it's not
it.
really believable.
I was like,
for
if
that.
they'd have done it, maybe he's a senior in high school, you know, he's 18. I could have believed that, maybe a push, but like, not 15. That did not work. That's like me trying to play a 15-year-old, you know.
I'm told that the Miles Morales thing is also very well done for what it's worth.
Yeah. With what's he called? The criminal guy. I've forgotten his name. He's not a criminal in real life. He's an actor.
Donald Glover.
Is it Danny Glover?
Donald Glover. That's the one.
Donald Glover.
Do you say Danny Glover?
I just know him as that guy from Community with the pizzas.
Yeah.
But yeah, his whole thing, he's meant to be a supervillain in his own right in the comics, so like I'm interested because it could just be a case of like that was just a cameo, which is kind of like a wink and a nod. But like if eventually like they get tired of Tom Holland or like he stops being a draw or like whatever, they could just kill him off and then they can make Miles Morales a thing and like, you know, keep the universe a rolling because they can't.
But isn't the eventual plan to kill Captain America and stuff?
They're either gonna kill Captain America or he's gonna retire. The same as Iron Man. Iron Man's probably.
I don't see a way for like Steve to retire. You know what I mean? What's he gonna like? He's gonna stop caring about freedom and stuff and just kick it back on a boat somewhere. Like, I feel like that's not in his character. Dying seems like a better way for like the ultimate soldier to go out.
Alternatively,
sort of getting old.
Alternatively, he could get cryogenically frozen again for a bit.
He's back in the Arctic. Sod him.
While we're talking about this, apparently there was a exclusive Infinity War trailer at D23. That we'll probably never get to see, but there was some interesting details that I heard from the journalists who went there. Not as like a private source.
You
they
heard
had
from them.
They had
like I am friends with Tom Holland. You are friends with the journalistic team that goes to D23.
No, I meant like I watched some YouTubers and they were like, "Whoa, it was so cool," because it was apparently like it mixes things up in that you get to see the Avengers in space and then like the Guardians of the Galaxy on Earth and then like
Avengers in
space and then like a mixture of like science and magic in that there's apparently a bit where Doctor Strange is like magicking up platforms for Star-Lord to jump across as he shoots things with phaser rifles, and then you've got like you've got like Spider-Man helping out with Iron Man take down like evil people from the sky. Loki's apparently got the Tesseract again for some reason, and
Yay!
then
Oh boy, Loki.
yay, and then
Favorite.
Thanos just kind of appears, and he's like 8 foot tall, and he appears out of like a void and just backhands someone. And then Captain America comes back, and this time he's got a beard, so you know he means business. As much as I am definitely going to watch Infinity War because I'm in too deep, I'm kind of interested to see. I'm kind of interested to see how Hulk and Thor are going to play into this, just because they're going to have their own road trip. I'm just wondering if, like, halfway through the movie, like, Thor and Hulk are just going to crash out of, like, a spaceship, and then they're just going to join the fight, and everyone's just kind of there like, what the fuck, Thor, when did you get your hair cut?
Unpopular opinion, I think he looks a lot better without all the hair.
It's cut, what? No,
Is that unpopular?
Uh,
I agree.
I think that's just because that's how Chris Hemsworth normally has his hair cut.
Yeah, I mean, that is how he looks.
Mm.
So, like, I think the long hair always looked like a bad wig, to be fair. But maybe that's just because I know what he looks without it.
I don't really care either way, just because the image of like Marvel Thor was always different to like the image of Thor which I saw in every other piece of media, where he was ginger with like a massive flowing beard.
Massive dick.
But yeah, massive. Oh jeez.
His big flowing dick.
So, is there anything else anyone to bring up before we wrap this up?
Question.
Yeah.
What is a homecoming?
It's an American thing. It's one of the parties. It's just an excuse. Fraser, stop putting backslashes in my area. You have your own area for backslashes, man.
I can't help it, dude.
Oh.
I'm trying to fit in a place to speak, and then it's backslashes.
Why did you bind push to talk to a button that does stuff? Just put it on control.
Because when I do it on control, whenever I click something, like it brings up like the control alternative menu.
Put it on like left D-pad. I don't know. D-pad. Yeah.
I hook a finesse controller.
Yeah.
The way how it'll work is I'll bind it to a button, push it to talk, and then I'll accidentally delete like System 32.
Yeah, Alt F4. That's a great push to talk button.
Yeah. So.
Is there anything else anyone wanted to mention?
You seem to have a lot to talk about the Netflix Castlevania thing.
Yeah, we can go over that. Yeah.
Just because we were talking about yesterday how the Belmont's like Japanese name is apparently like really stupid. What is it, Ralph or something?
Yeah. So in Castlevania's new Netflix, Netflix's new Castlevania series. That makes more sense. They're doing the story following Trevor Belmont, and basically a brief run through the story of like an old game is that Dracula's wife gets killed by the church, so he's basically like, in a year I will kill everyone because I'm angry and sad now. And then a year passes and all the church people are like, aha, he didn't do anything. And then like the skies rain blood and fetuses, and then the fetuses turn into demons and kill everyone. That's just a quick run through. So with Trevor Belmont, I was confused because I'd always heard the name. I don't know much about Castlevania. I'd always heard the name Simon Belmont mentioned.
Right.
So I was like, oh right, I'll just Google Trevor Belmont. I found out apparently, according to the very reliable source of like Wikipedia, that his Japanese name is Ralph Belmont.
Yeah.
And they Englishised that to Trevor. I mean,
Because
I don't
it sounds
know why.
cooler, obviously.
Well, it doesn't though, does it, Trevor? I mean,
It
sorry
fits
to one of
more.
our 10 listeners if you are called Trevor, but it's not the most heroic name, is it?
Yeah, Trevor's not a very instilling of fear type name.
Well,
No.
You see, the thing is, it's got to sound old timey, but it's all like, so they can't have like they can't have a more modern name that's like in
Chewbacca
style.
Belmont.
Yeah, Chewbacca Belmont. But the reason that there's a different name, Joe, I'm sure you saw this in your Wikipedia article, is because Trevor is an earlier ancestor of the Belmont family line, which is sworn to kill Dracula. And they've got.
Is that the plot with Simon?
Yeah, Simon's like a later one down the line, but the
Oh,
general gist.
right. Because me and Rob watched like the first 3 episodes. Well, I watched the first 3 episodes. Rob was drunk and also went to bed halfway through the third one. But I watched them, and the basic story was that like he was from the Belmont family, which used to hunt all the monsters and stuff, and then the church like declared him excommunicado in the style of the Continental. So all of his family were like exiled and killed and whatever, and so he's like one of the last ones left.
I am the last one.
Wow, sweet dragon heart reference there.
Thank
Nice. I do love that film, to be fair. I'm a massive fan of that film. So, yeah, so he's like bitter now and he drinks a lot and he doesn't want to help people because like these are the same people that exiled him and stuff, so why should he help them? You know what I mean? He can look after himself. And it's sort of like he's like an anti-hero type thing. And it was very well animated. The only thing I was a bit disappointed about was the fact that it was only 4 episodes long. I don't know if it was like a tester series or what, but it was just a bit like,
The interesting thing about it is it's based off like Castlevania 3, so it's already got which is like an old NES game, and but
wow,
it's
high praise.
it's already got like its own rudimentary story. So I guess they were just kind of like they were only given like the go ahead for 4 episodes because that's like equivalent to like an hour and a half movie or something, given the actual episode length. But the weird thing is they didn't even like leave it like a day or two to try and figure out whether or not they were getting a second season, because I'm pretty sure they were greenlit for a second season like a day or two before Castlevania actually got on Netflix.
Well, maybe that was due to like some kind of internal screening though, and they were like, "Oh, this is actually really good."
Yeah.
Because, like I say, it's very well done. It looks great, you know. The voice acting's pretty good. It's got like actual people in. It's got Thorin Oakenshield as the voice of Ralph Belmont.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, you know, I was a bit disappointed because I thought it was I knew it was 4 episodes long, but I thought they were like, you know, sort of feature length or like 40 minutes or something, rather than like just a normal 20-minute anime episode type thing.
Because I heard the Castlevania thing was coming out, and I just automatically assumed it was going to be like a live action jobby.
Oh god, that'd probably be bad though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be
This was a good way of doing it.
I saw it was an animated thing, and I'm like, oh my god, this is genuinely cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I've heard some people call it boring, and I've heard some people being like, it's like, you know, Trevor Belmont's voice acting was kind of like a bit stale, given that the guy who did him wasn't like a trained voice actor. But at the same time, I've heard loads of people who were like, yeah, but it works.
No, it's fine. You know, it's not the best thing I've ever seen or anything, but you know, it was good. I get what people mean about a bit slow because it's only 4 episodes long, and it takes till like halfway through episode 2 for it actually like the character to be introduced and start doing stuff. You know what I mean?
What's the deal with Alucard? Because he gets like Symphony of the Night later on. He gets like his own game after Castlevania 4. Sorry, after Castlevania 3.
Is he Alucard in that, Rob? I thought he was Vlad Tepes.
No,
Yeah, he was hard, wasn't he?
no, because you've got in those first 4 episodes, from what I understand, you get the first 3. You get the 3 main characters from Castlevania 3. You get Trevor Belmont, you get Alucard, and then you get the sorceress lady whose name I forget.
Well, there's Dracula. I mean, I know Alucard is Dracula backwards, but I don't think anyone called him Alucard.
Alucard is the son of Dracula in Castlevania.
Oh, well, no, the actual baddie is Dracula. Like he calls himself Dracula. People call him Dracula, and when he's out and about in the town, you know, clubbing out on a Friday night, he calls himself Vlad Tepes, which is like the Dracula name from loads of stuff.
So
there was a character in the very first episode, really early on, when his wife dies. Dracula's like, "I'm going to kill them all," and then like a white shining figure from a doorway goes, "No, don't do it, Dracula," and then like they both attack and someone's arm gets cut off or something. But then like that character is never shown again, at least in the first 3 episodes.
I'm pretty sure that Alucard is like the Castlevania equivalent to Vampire Hunter D, in that his mother was a regular woman. And,
Maybe that character then is Alucard, but
yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to know. I will get round to watching it in the same way I will get round to watching like both seasons of Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones.
And you will get round to playing Breath of the Wild, in the next 10 years.
Yeah, in the next 10 years, I'll get round to it.
So I think that's all from us here. So do you want to take us out, Fraser, seeing as you brought us into this world, kicking and screaming?
Since you dragged us into this shit heap.
Yep.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to smash that motherfucking like button.
Ding our bell.
Ding the bell for notifications for when we
Don't expect them very often, but
yeah.
but ding it anyway.
We'll try and get this done fortnightly. However, scheduling's a bitch because we
have lives.
Yes, that's
lying.
Apart from me,
that's a total lie.
Yeah.
I have a life.
Alone.
I'm not sure about these two.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a life. So
I think
anyway,
Rob's accepted his sort of non-life.
Mm-hmm. So maybe in the links below whatever streaming platform you're watching this on, there'll be links to I don't know, our Tumblrs, maybe
my personal phone number, so that any attractive ladies out there can send me a quick message.
Yeah, ignore the conversation about Joe having a girlfriend.
If you have anything to say to us, you can leave something in whatever comment section is available, or you can, God forbid, you could do things the old-fashioned way and send us an email on idiocyinmono@gmail.com.
It'll be in the description below anyway.
Yeah, it's
do that.
That's
Joe.
only if you have something that you want to ask us about, which I doubt because we're
I
hardly
mean,
an
early on,
authority in anything.
all 10 of you out there, I'm sure we can get round at least 2 questions.
Yeah. So,
as long as they're only short.
Q&A?
I'm not actually expecting anything. But
Rob will actually be the only one in the Q&A. He'll be recording that solo.
Oh God.
We'll have a little Rob's question corner segment.
Solidarity in mono.
I'd like that.
Would you? Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll forward them to you, buddy. Yeah,
Okay.
so that's all from us this week. We'll see you soon.
That's all that you're going to get from the 3 people you hate most on the internet.
Oh, it's changed now. We're not your least favourite. You actually hate us.
Yes.
There's definite, sort of
Your 3...
the actual pain and
They definitely
hatred.
hate Mr. Supremacist over there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, it's not my finest idea. Okay, we'll talk to
anyway.
you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye now.